Hey everybody, Danny here over at Into Fly Fishing, and today we're taking a long look at the Redington Strike Euro Nymphing rod. Now this is the 10-foot 6-inch 3-weight rod, and Redington was kind enough to send this over for me to take a look at, and I'm really excited to tell you guys my thoughts. So sit back and enjoy this review. Alright, so first things first, I always like to take a look at just the aesthetic of the rod. How does the rod look? And right off the bat, I'm a big fan of this rod. Most fly fishing companies have a signature look of some sort, whether it's the way they put their logo on the rod or certain colors or things like that. And this is actually the first Redington rod that I have owned. I've used them in the past, but I've never personally owned a Redington rod. And I'm a big fan of how this looks. This is a matte black color, so it's not over painted. It's not that glossy finish you find on a lot of different rods. It's not going to flash or anything on the water. It keeps a low profile, but it's just a sharp looking rod. You have the matte black cars you see, you always kind of know there's some sort of sense of mystery surrounding those cars and the paint job and things like that, and you get that same feel with the Redington Strike. It obviously has the nice contrast of the cork and handle here, and then the butt of the rod, but the overall matte black with the white or silverish lettering on here from logos and the details of the rod. Big fan of just how it looks. It's sharp. It pairs well with a black reel, or if you want to throw a little flash into your reel to give it that fun little design on the water, that's definitely a possibility. But Redington did a great job with designing this, keeping it simple yet kind of a classy look to it. So the Redington Strike is a medium fast action rod, and we'll get more into that in a second, with a very sensitive tip. And right out of the tube you can tell it's very touchy. So any Euro nympher knows that you need a sensitive rod tip for those smaller strikes that you may get on a slow day or in the middle of the winter. But you have the medium fast action with the sensitive tip. You have the CNC machined reel seat here, so it's not going to corrode or wear over time, gonna stay in that tip-top condition. The guides on here are not only low profile, so they don't add any extra weight to it, but they're solid enough that the line really flows through them nicely. I didn't have any issues with anything getting hung up. It was nice for my leader. It could sit where it needed to sit and the tippet. I didn't feel as if there was any bulky extra weight on this, so it's a nice makeup. And this is really a great rod for a variety of anglers. If you are an expert in Euro nymphing and you've been doing it for years and you're looking for an affordable rod, the Redington Strike is a great option. And I think it's especially great for those that are not quite sure about Euro nymphing. Maybe want one that's a little bit more versatile, but obviously a reputable name behind it. And Redington created that kind of medium, affordable Euro nymphing rod. You can obviously spend upwards of $1,000 on these types of rods, but Redington found a nice niche for about 300 bucks, and it's a perfect rod for that angler curious about Euro nymphing and wondering what it's all about, with high hopes that they'll really enjoy it. So the casting and the feel with this rod. I took this rod up to a creek in northern Arizona, a location I felt really suited a Euro nymphing setup. Now, I'm by no means an expert with Euro nymphing, but I know enough to know what water works really well for it. And there was a lot of portions of this creek that were wide but fairly fast moving, so I needed to high stick my way through some pockets and through some seams and smaller pools that I found out amongst the faster moving water. And I could make a 15-20 foot cast no problem. So until you start using a 10-foot, 11-foot rod, you don't really know how long it is and how often you can get yourself in trouble regarding just running into trees or cover anything. So keep that in mind when you do use this rod. It's long, it finds a way to catch itself on things, and the line get caught on things. So keep that in mind. But you could easily make the 15 to 20 foot cast, no problem. Those really delicate 10-foot casts worked well with the medium action. And then you could really air this out if you needed to. I didn't really have to get past 25, 30 feet. But if you needed to let it out, I had full confidence I could keep going. Obviously, Euro Nymphing, you're not often airing it out super far if you don't have to. So a nice just balance to it. And then with the medium fast action, you don't feel like you have to be perfect. A lot of rods that are coming out these days are fast action, and you have to really hit your spot and have a great feel and be an expert caster. And that's not really the case with this. You can have that sense of forgiveness. And yes, we want to be accurate, especially when we're Euro nymphing, but it doesn't always have to be perfect. And the strike makes that a possibility. So this rod is also pretty versatile. The medium fast action allows it to be so. And you can throw the dry flies if you want to mono rig a leader. You can obviously use the nymphs. So depending on the time of day and where the fish are feeding, you can make it work. You can even throw some of those smaller streamers if need be. So it's versatile, and the medium fast action allows that to happen. And also, Euro nymphers know the importance of balance when it comes to these rods. Sometimes if you're really on a budget, anglers will very much overweight the bottom and use a heavier reel on a lighter rod to get that high sticking balance, things like that. And what Redington does to counteract that is they make an extra long handle. Now most fly rod handles are 6 or 7 inches, and this one's actually 8.5 inches. So that extended handle allows you to grip further down, or if you want to move your way further up to get that balance. That's what they had in mind with this extra long handle. And that's what I actually really appreciated about this. It's a unique feature that I think more companies are definitely going to start doing when they find out how well this works. And again, balance is so key when it comes to these setups. And you are going to maybe have to have some trial and error figuring out what reel is going to work best for this rod, but I didn't have too much trouble. I quickly found a balance that I liked personally that worked for me, and you'll have to do that for yourself. But I think the extra long handle, again, you don't have to be as exact. You can grip further up, you can grip further back, you can grip right in the middle if need be. So it's that extra long handle was strange to me at first, but it did not take long for me at all to realize how special of a feature that this was. Now obviously when you're Euro nymphing, you're going to be moving the rod around quite a bit. You're going to making a mend, you're going to be doing quick casts, doing whatever you need to do to get your fly in the right place to accomplish that proper drift. And the maneuverability with this rod is solid. Now being that it is medium fast action, you have the sensitive rod tip, but the response rate of the rod slows down a bit as a result. I think if this rod was a bit stiffer, it would be one of the best rods as far as affordable Euro nymphing rigs go. But the reaction time is just a bit slow, and it can cause you to have a fish drop the fly, or you just be a little bit late on that strip set. So keep that in mind, being that it is a medium fast action. You'll have the sensitivity, but you lose out on the response rate. So it's a bit of a give and take. Also, this rod does feel a bit heavier than other Euro nymphing rods that I've used. Again, it's not the highest priced Euro nymphing rod, but the extra long handle does add a bit extra weight to the rod. So you do keep that in mind if you like that extremely light rod. That's not the Redington Strike. It's got a little bit extra weight to it, and you can notice. It's by no means a deal breaker, but if you're a purist that likes it a certain way, keep that in mind before you purchase this. But overall maneuverability, the feel to it, you get the hang of it quickly. You don't feel like it's set up properly or balanced improperly. As long as you have the right reel attached and you get used to it, you'll be plenty pleased with the Redington Strike. So like I mentioned earlier, the Redington Strike is only going to cost you $300, and Redington does a good job with their rods and reels and waders that they're never way overpriced. You'll find a lot of fly fishing companies that are starting to price their anglers out of the market. Over $1,000 for a rod gets to be ridiculous. Redington doesn't do that, and especially with the Strike here. $300 for a high quality Euro Nymphing rod, protected by a lifetime warranty. You're going to be hard pressed to find a better deal than this in the Euro Nymphing world. And I was really curious, honestly, to see how this rod would perform in the midst of that, and being that it is more affordable, I really wasn't quite sure. And I left the water pumped to truly dive into Euro Nymphing and finally have a quality rod that I know is going to do the trick. So while this rod does feel a bit heavy and the response rate isn't exactly what maybe some purists would love, I'm a big fan of this rod. It's affordable, it does the job well, it's easy to cast, easy to maneuver, easy to mend, easy to get to your spot, fun to high stick. Sensitivity of the tip is phenomenal, and it looks great. And on top of it all, it has the Redington name attached to it, and in fly fishing, a reputable company goes a long way. So I would not hesitate to purchase this rod if you know you are in the market for a Euro Nymphing rod, if you're looking to get more into it, become more of an expert, and you don't have exact preferences because you've been doing it for 50 years and you know exactly what you need. This is a perfect rod for that type of angler that's really looking to get into the Euro Nymphing world, or one that's not open to trying a new feel. So if you liked what you saw today, make sure you head over to our YouTube page, hit that subscribe button, and we appreciate you watching.